Hi, I'm Bob Trask, and this is our weekly reset. And today we're going to be talking about, oh, to just be understood. To just be understood. You and I both know how frustrating it is when we talk to somebody and they don't understand us. Or when we do something, you do something and somebody said, "Why'd you do that?" And you said, "Well, I did it because well, that doesn't make any sense." And then you keep, and they don't get it. And then you're made wrong, aren't you? Because you and I have these huge silos of belief systems that are all built on memories. All of them are built on memories. All those memories in our lives and in our minds, trillions, not hundreds or thousands or billions, but trillions of memories. And they're all rattling around in our brain saying, this is right, that's wrong, this is right. But here's the thing, their memories are almost all erroneous. Most people who were released from prison, having been unjustly incarcerated, were released because they found later that the eyewitnesses were wrong. The eyewitnesses, but the eyewitnesses weren't lying. They were talking about what they saw. But here's the thing, is that when you see it, if you see it through the filters of that belief system, the filters of your opinion, then it changes what you're looking at. You're not seeing the same thing. So you and I have these vast silos of belief systems and opinions and ideas and memories, and they're all jumbled together. And we think that's who we are. Oh, we think that's who we are. We think we are our memories. We think we are all of those things. We're not. But we're not. So to understand somebody or to be understood, let's just own it. To be understood makes us feel respected. I'm now connected with you. You get me. Oh my God. Isn't it something to be with somebody that gets you? Sometimes when I do weddings, I ask the bride and the groom to say why they fell in love with this person, why they decided to spend the rest of their life with this person, and they say sometimes they say, well, because he made me laugh or she made me, but most often they say because he gets me or she gets me. Do you know what that means? They finally found somebody who makes them feel understood. Do we have to get married? Do we have to get married before we can be understood? For crying out loud. And so many people are married and they're still not understood. So understanding makes us feel emotionally safe. And to the degree that we feel understood, we feel trusted. And we feel close to the other person. Seneca the Younger said, one of the most beautiful qualities of true friendship is to understand and be understood. Isn't that true? One of the most beautiful qualities of friendship is to understand and to be understood. Ooh, man, that is so good. And the understanding between you and me is more than just a casual feeling, isn't it? It's our mutual empathy. It's our mutual caring. And many times when we're listening to someone talk, we're just waiting for them to finish so we can get our very important saying in there. When that happens, there's absolutely no chance for mutual understanding. And that understanding is not just getting the message accurately, is it? It's getting the other person to really get their value to us. They get that they're valuable to us. So if, excuse me, So if somebody says something and you don't understand them, then you see that they get frustrated right away. And they get frustrated because they get scared. And why they get scared is because they say, I'm not being connected. I'm not being accepted. I'm not being respected or loved or cared about here. I'm isolated. I'm distant because what I'm saying is like in my own silo with my rock walls around me, and nobody can get into my silo. Nobody can hear me. So when I speak to you and you understand, then for that brief time, our minds connect and you and I belong to each other. But if you don't understand, instead of hearing me, you're looking for justification for what you already believe. So, and here's the nuts thing. Boy, this is the nuts thing. You start talking and and you start telling me something. And right away, I begin to look at that, what's coming into me, does it fit with my beliefs? Does what you're saying fit with my beliefs? Because if it doesn't, then I either stop listening or I start judging everything you say. Nope, that isn't right. No, that isn't right. Well, that's possibly so, but then this isn't right. And so I listen and I might smile and nod my head, but I've already judged you as being nuts because of my belief systems. Can I just relax my beliefs for a minute and let you be you? Can I just let you be you? Do you have to be me? I've got all my old stuff going on. Can I just set it aside for a minute and allow you to come into me? And unfortunately, a lot of married people only listen to each other to see if the other one's right. And, and right means being consistent with my belief systems. That's all right means. And my belief systems are made up of my memories, most of which I said before are inaccurate. And when we see truth only as what we believe, oh my, that's dangerous, isn't it? I mean, we can look around the world at what's going on right now, at the wars and the injustices that are being done, and all of that is because of of someone's belief systems not matching with someone else's belief systems. My religion says this, and you don't even have a religion. You have some nonsense beliefs, but that's not. This is religion. This is the way it is. It is not the way it is. I don't care what your religion is. I don't care what it is. And pardon me for saying so, it's not accurate. It's built on myths. It's built on myths. Sometimes hundreds or thousands of years old, many thousands of years old. Are we still living in the caves? Are we still dragging clubs behind us? Aren't we at this point intelligent enough to be able to see objectively what truth is? Because if we don't, then it gets really dangerous. Stupidity, egoism, cruelty, falsehoods. They all seem to be okay as long as they're facing the same direction I am. But if stupidity, egoism, cruelty, and falsehoods are facing in a little bit different direction, then it's easy for me to say, well, that's kind of stupid and that's wrong. And I might be correct on that. But it doesn't make any difference because whoever's doing that is inside of their belief systems. And if they have power, if we elect them president or they're the king or the prime minister, and they have that attitude, then they're going to take us down a really bad path. And that's the way life is. But you don't have to, and I don't have to be that way. We can, to begin with, let's clarify our thinking. Am I speaking to you today right now, am I speaking to you from my ego? Do you feel that or not? Am I speaking to you from my belief systems? I am, but my belief systems have been upgraded by this week. I did tens of hours of study and research on being understood and on the psychology of understanding. And I just went into the depths of the best that I could find. And that's what I'm talking to you from. So it's possible that what you're doing as you're listening to me is you're letting that come in to the big silo of your belief systems, and it's kicking around in there, and you're seeing whether or not it's right. Is it possible that we could just listen to each other without judging? Last week, we talked about the secret to a truly great life. The secret was relationships that really work. Without relationships, my dear friend, we got nothing. We got nothing. Relationships is everything. It's not something, it's everything. Mary and I have a dear friend, or had a dear friend, he's passed now, Dick Prenicky, who built a cabin and lived in the wilderness by himself. And somebody might say to me, well, Dick Prenicky didn't have any relationships. He had tons of relationships. I stopped writing letters to him when he said to me, not cruelly, but just said to me in a letter, I hardly have time to go out now. I have so many letters from people around the world that I need to answer, because he was so good about answering his letters. So I stopped writing to him because I wanted him to go out and be with the wolves and the moose and climb through the high country. I wanted him to be able to be who he was. And incidentally, I said that he was Mary and my friend. He was also Rick Robertson, who's here. He was also his friend. So the fact of it is, he had tons of relationships. He had the float plane that came in every few weeks and dropped off his mail and dropped off groceries for him. And he was friends with the Allsworth family. He had tons of relationships. So if you haven't heard that relationships video, go to Bob Trask, go to YouTube, Bob Trask's Weekly Reset, and get your relationship up working at its best. So now back to talking about understanding. We're going to take relationships today to a deeper level. We're looking inside of ourselves and inside of our automatic thinking. Our automatic thinking. You know, the great masters, Jesus and Buddha and those great spiritual masters, each one of them, one point or another, said, I am one with the universe. Jesus said, I am one with the Father. Buddha said, the I and the universe are one. All of the great masters were saying that. What were they actually saying? They were saying, I knocked the walls of my silo down, and I let all the birds of my belief systems fly away, and I just became one with the world. Can you and I do that? Can we stop believing just because our memory says it's true? Our memories are false. Our memories are made up. Oh, I don't mean it didn't really happen. And I don't mean you didn't really feel that way. Oh boy, I don't mean that at all. What I mean is that all of our memories jumble together, and they affect each other, and they change each other. This memory doesn't work because this memory is contradictory to that memory. So one of them has to change. So one of them changes a little and the other changes a little, and now they fit together. So all of our memories finally fit together in a nice pattern. But in doing that, they sacrifice truth. So what I'm not saying get rid of our memories. I'm not saying get rid of our beliefs. I'm saying look at them. We shouldn't believe everything we think. We shouldn't believe everything we think. So let's now look at each other. Oh my goodness, as treasures, as treasures. That person that you're looking at, that person has never been or ever will be replicated in any universe ever in all of eternity. That person's the only, this is the only opportunity I have to to know this person, to feel this person, and in so doing, to be enriched and to become more of who I am, to become enriched and to become more of who I am. Because every person comes to me with a gift that I don't have. Like, I don't have this. And so when they bring that to me, if I just stop believing and judging and just open, then they come into me and we become one in that way. Ooh, ooh, so sweet, so sweet. This person then is love, and I'm love, and together we are in love. That doesn't mean romantic stuff, it means actual love. But in order to do that, I have to stop listening. Don't listen to it. Don't listen to me. Don't listen to us. Hear them. Let's hear each other. Just get our just stop thinking and look into that person's eyes and drink them in. Hear the tone of their voice. Hear every inflection. They're telling you who they are. They're not telling you. So what happened? Well, I went to the store. I was going to get and then I did the, and then and if you're listening to the story about them going to the store, you're missing the point. They're telling you who they are. And if you hear who they are, then they feel understood. And then maybe, just maybe, they will listen to you. But it's important that you talk to people in your lives, the people that you live with, the people that you love, your family, that you talk to them and you say, I just learned this thing about being understood and I want to share it with you. I want us to be able to really see each other all the way into the core of each other. I want us to be able to feel each other. I want us to be able to to let each other drink the other. I want us to be able to get the gift of unique individuality that's so special and so precious that it has never and before and never again will exist. I want to be able to get that gift inside of me while I'm in this world. Talk to me about you. Tell me about you. And if they just say, so, I went up to the checker and then I thought, oh God, I forgot the cottage cheese. Can you just hold this? And the checker said, I've got a line of people. And somebody else behind me said, look, I'll take, and all of those little stories, but the person's telling you who they are because they're talking about their silo. They're talking about themselves in that situation. That isn't the situation. It's them they're talking about. Can we just hear them? And can we just teach other people around us to hear us, to listen to us, and not just assume because they don't judge, because they don't understand us, that, oh, well, I want to give up on that. Because that's what we do, isn't it? We just give up. We say, well, nobody understands me. To hell with it. I'm just not going to even try anymore. And for the first 30 years of my life, I lived in my swamp. I call them, it's my word for the silo is my swamp. I lived in my swamp and 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 everything was, I didn't understand other people when they were talking. I didn't get them. And then I was working on a dive boat. We were taking people out, scuba divers, taking them out to adventurous places and having them dive. And I was also diving during the day. And the captain was a really great diver. And one evening, after everybody was back aboard, somebody came on board and said, I saw a newly sunk ship down there, a wreck, not a ship, but a vessel down there. And I said, geez, I better go down and take a look. I said to the captain, I better go down and take a look. There might be somebody trapped in there. So I just grabbed my scuba gear and I grabbed a tank, and it was not completely full, but it had some air in it. And so I thought, well, it's going to be a short dive. I'm just going to check this out. So I just jumped in and I went over and I went down and I swam into the pilot house and went through the pilot house, nothing there. Swam down the gangway into the salon, nobody there. Down into the bunk rooms, checked each of the bunks, nobody there. Came back out and was up just above the deck, and I saw the hold, the hatch on the hold was off, and it was just this deep, dark cavern down there. And I thought, I better go down and have a look. Somebody could have got trapped down there. And I looked at my um, my air, and I had maybe 10 minutes left. Not a problem. 10 minutes, I'll be out here. So I went down in the hold, and when I got down in the hold in the darkness, all the water around me was just filled with the snarled, floating polyethylene rope. It was just everywhere. So I turned to go back out, and my tank got caught up in the rope. And then as I was kicking, one of my fins got tangled up in the rope and I couldn't get out. And so, I looked up at that hatch and it was only about 10 feet above me. And above that, I could see the light blue water. And I thought, yeah, that might as well be a mile ahead of me. I can't, because I was trapped. And then I settled myself down, closed my eyes, said, don't panic, because if you panic when you're diving, if you panic, you're dead, you're done. So I just settled myself down. I had almost no air left. I took off my tank, turned it around, put it against my chest, untangled it, took off that fin that was tangled, shook it out. With the other fin, I kicked my way through the tangles, went up through the hole. I was out of air at this point, so I just exhaled all the way back to the surface. When I got back to the boat, I put my gear away and I went up on the bridge, and the captain was there, and he was furious with me. He was absolutely furious. And I thought, well, what the heck is he so angry about? He wasn't down there. He didn't know what I went through. But as he just went on ranting and writing, something happened to me. And this is about the understanding. Something happened to me. Maybe because I'd come close to dying, so close to dying, I don't know. But I suddenly heard him, not just listened to him. I heard him. I heard the fear inside of him. I heard, I heard the anguish inside of him. I heard that he'd come close to losing me, and I learned how much he cared about me. And if I'd have just listened to his ranting and raving, I wouldn't have heard that. But I heard him. I really heard him. And how often, my friends, do we listen to somebody, but we don't really hear them? We don't really hear them. And we can never, ever, ever understand that person if we can't go beyond listening and go into training ourselves to hearing them, to joining in their experience as them. And here's another thing is that when we get that close to a person, that we're really hearing them, then we get connected on a more permanent level. And then when they're in trouble. You know that. You can feel it. I pick up the phone and call somebody and I say, what's going on? I haven't talked to them for a long time. They said, wow, it's a good thing you called, but yeah, because we're connected. What if we could just stop judging and really know each other? What if we could shut off our silly belief systems and pay attention to nature, which is our divine creator? Miguel Angel Ruiz said, just imagine becoming the way you used to be as a young child. Before you understood the meaning of any word, before opinions took over your mind. The real you is loving, joyful, and free. The real you is just like a flower, just like the wind, just like the ocean, just like the sun. So today, Today's lesson is to become more fully understood by using not just our words, but all the tools we have. Get into your communication. Be your communication. Because if you don't, it's not fair to judge someone else for misunderstanding us. Let's communicate with our whole beings rather than just our words. Let's join the dance of the stars. Let's join the music of the mountains. Let's using our bodies and our tone of voice. Let me tell you, I'm going to finish today by, excuse me for this vocal thing going on. I'm going to finish today by talking to you about something that Black Hill, that great Oglala Sioux leader, said. And I'm just going to read it for you. He said, I was standing on the highest mountain of them all, round and about. Beneath me was the whole hoop of the world. And while I stood there, I saw more than I can tell, and I understood more than I saw, for I was seeing in a sacred manner the shape of all things in spirit, and the shape of all things as they must live together like one being. And I saw the sacred hoop of my people was one of many hoops that made one circle wide as daylight and as starlight, and in the center grew one mighty flowering tree to shelter all the children of one another, and one mother and one father. And I saw that it was holy. So I just gave you words. Now I'm going to show you what happens different when you use your words and your body and your voice tone. Black Elk said this. I was standing on this highest mountain of them all, and round beneath me was the whole hoop of the world. And while I stood there, I saw more than I can tell and more than I can understand, more than I saw, for I was seeing in a sacred manner the shapes of all things in spirit, and the shape of all things as they must live together like one being. And I saw that the sacred hoops, all of my people, the sacred hoops made one circle, wide as daylight and as starlight. And in the center grew a mighty flowering tree to shelter all children of one mother and one father. And I saw that it was holy. So that's the opportunity you have. Use the music of your voice and the dance of your body and the incredible words that you know. And let that all be your communication. I love you. Thank you for being with me. Please go to bobtrask.com and leave a donation to help me with my work, and invite other people to come to these weekly resets, either on YouTube or here on uh, on Sunday mornings at 9 and 11 o'clock. Thank you. And go with my love, my understanding, and I'll see you next week.